ARMA 3 is the sequel to ARMA 2, the military simulator that most people probably identify with as the basis for the DayZ mod. ARMA 3 itself is due for release in the third quarter of 2013, but there's no confirmed release date as of yet because obviously the game is still in alpha. Obviously because of that, I won't be commenting so much on the game as a review and more of a first look at the game because obviously, alpha. I played the light version of it as well, so I won't be commenting on the multiplayer elements because I haven't experienced them for myself, so I can't really make a comment on it. The storyline hasn't really been revealed to us as of yet, but it appears to take place in the mid-2030s, when NATO forces have deployed in the Greek islands of the Aegean Sea, and they're trying to hold off a massive Iranian military push from the east. The player is going to be playing a British Special Forces soldier, Captain Scott Miller, and initially they're going to have to survive on their own, though eventually, according to the early press releases, they will be able to control large-scale operations, such as armor offensives and the like. Visually the game looks brilliant, at least in the first look I've had at it, but bear in mind that I am playing it on a computer that can run it at ultra settings, so your experiences may vary. The trees and the grass look realistic and lush, though not so much when you get closer to it, and the water effects from the scuba showcase section look fairly realistic and bloody amazing. The water gets darker the deeper you go, so, like real life, though it's not overly apparent in the scuba showcase footage that you'll see because the area that you actually do that in is fairly shallow. But there is a chasm later on in the section that you can look down. I don't think I got any footage of it though, but hopefully I did, and if it's there, it'll be here. No. For the controls, they're as complicated in ARMA 3 as they were in ARMA 2, because apparently Bohemia Interactive hasn't decided that their control schemes are clunky and kind of unintuitive. You'd think they'd realize that by now, but apparently not. Some things like temporary optics, which basically means Einsights, aren't really readily apparent, and even for someone like me who played DayZ in ARMA 2 to a fair extent, it wasn't obvious. And I don't know, maybe it's just not obvious to me, but it didn't seem like it was very intuitive. Of course, experiences may differ. Gameplay hasn't really changed much from ARMA 2. It's a military simulator after all, so the gameplay will tend to be fairly formulaic, but with ARMA it's a tried and tested formula, and it still holds up fairly well. They have added a few new things, like new stances such as sitting, which I expect will probably help for cases where you want to ambush, but you don't want to be laying prone when you do it. Obviously, as the game is still in alpha, there will be some issues. For example, in the footage of driving I took, which should be playing now, the vehicle was steering to the right for an unknown reason, and I had to compensate for it by pushing hard to the left. But whether or not that's a bug I couldn't say, but it seems to act a little bit like one, because there wasn't really a logical reason for the car to be tipping. In conclusion, the alpha looks very promising, though only if you like military simulators. I can easily see it becoming frustrating for someone who's more of a casual gamer or doesn't really have an enthusiasm for the genre. Now, I'll only be giving a general score because obviously this is an alpha and thus not the finished product. I'm going to give it a 7.5 because at present there's obviously still many problems, though albeit they should be fixed in the time after feedback from both the betas and the alphas. So hopefully we'll see the ARMA series going from strength to strength, and this has been GreyHunter reviewing for GameLevel TV.